All right. Welcome back to the Better Life Blueprint. We're working on pillar 3 right now. We're talking about relationships. And in this video, I want to talk about a sort of a topic that I think a lot of people don't think much about. It's often glossed over, sort of the nuances and the importance of this topic that I'm about to get into. And what I'm going to get into is the idea of your partner, your life partner. I'm going to talk more romantic. Your life partner being a very, extremely, not even very, an extremely valuable asset in your life. Ideally, because if you pick a bad partner, they'll be an insane liability in your life. So, for the record, before I get into this, I just want to let you know I'm not a dating coach or anything like that. I'm not some kind of relationship expert when it comes to romantic relationships or anything like that. But I do try my best to kind of, one, be perceptive of kind of the world around me. So I observe other people's relationships. For personal relationships, I try to take note of what made sense, what worked well, what didn't work well. I try to look into the future. I try to be perspicacious, as they call it, and try to read into the future and think about what could happen, what could not happen, what the best possible outcome is. And I used to study a little bit of evolutionary biology, some psychology, and a little bit of pickup. For those of you that are not familiar with this, evolutionary biology is sort of the understanding of how humans have adapted just based on evolution, as it sounds. And when you sort of apply psychology with that, it sort of allows you to understand how men and women operate and how that overall leads to evolution, how society functions just based on how men and women are biologically wired. Hopefully that makes sense. And then, of course, if you're not familiar with pickup, basically pickup is just, it was sort of what's the best way to describe it? It's sort of a group, or I guess a style of basically talking to females and hoping to date them and other stuff that I'm sure you can understand, or you can figure out what the other stuff is. But I did study a little bit of all of those things. So this is a combination of personal experience, observation, just thinking through different scenarios, being perspicacious, as I just mentioned, and from just other research I've personally done. So when it comes down to it, your partner in life, in my opinion, is an extremely valuable asset, or can be a very detrimental liability. And I'm going to tell you a quick story in a moment to just really illustrate exactly how important your partner will be in your life, and how important it is to pick the best kind of partner. But one thing I want to reference is sort of as I'm recording this video, one of the most talked about topics in the news, four people, but two couples in particular, Johnny Depp and Amber Heard, and then there's Will Smith and his wife, Jada. And if you're not familiar with, I'm not going to get into the story about both pairs of people, because it's a whole thing go look it up if you don't know much about it. But basically what it comes down to is both of them picked bad partners, and it's heavily been impacting their lives for the past few years. I would say, yeah, in both of their cases, maybe for a while, it's been impactful in a not so positive way. And for both of them, it's been leading to basically the destruction of their career and their lives. And it's making one of them, in the case of Will Smith, almost a laughingstock. Some of you, if you're watching this, you might have your own opinions about Will Smith and his relationship, which is fair, completely fair. But I would say in the grand scheme of things, Will Smith is regarded as a very popular, very accomplished, very high status celebrity, comedian, actor, whatever you want to call him. And his relationship with his wife or partner, I don't know, whatever you want to call it, has led to him being the butt of a lot of jokes, and has effectively led to an implosion of his career. I'm not saying his career is completely finished, but it's definitely been impacted heavily. And I think his mental state has also been impacted heavily. Obviously, I don't know him, so I can't say for sure, but based on observation, that is what it looks like. For Johnny Depp, I would say it's very similar. He's been in the news a lot lately due to a lawsuit with his partner. Some injuries have been sustained on his part. Many opportunities have been missed out on. And a legacy that he has created has ultimately been shit upon in a, pun intended, for those of you that know what that means. But long story short, his partner has led to a lot of negative outcomes and basically has destroyed what he has created in very little time. So that is just, I bring them up just because they're an example of how picking a bad partner can undo a series of great decisions, and basically you can do everything right and a bad partner can erase all that in an instant. So that's why I wanted to use them as an example. But I bring this up just because I tend to find a lot of people sort of pick partners haphazardly. They meet under some random circumstance or situation. And, of course, biology takes hold. They bond. And then over time, they stick together. And if they pick well, it'll lead to a great relationship. It'll lead to a great life down the line. If they pick poorly, it'll lead to a collapse in their lives, in their mental state, in their physical state. So it's just really key to pick a good partner. And I tend to find that a lot of people don't really know what they're looking for in a partner. I've had situations where I've asked people, what do you want in your ideal partner? And most will respond, I don't know. Most haven't even thought about it. You sit there and you ask, like, what traits or what values or what attributes in a potentially perfect partner would you want? And it's amazing how few people really have sat there and really thought it through and really, thought about what they're looking for. And I bring that up just because one of my personal beliefs is that you can't find something unless you know what you're looking for. You can't really look for a treasure if you don't have a map, and if you don't even know what kind of treasure you're looking for. If you're looking for gold, or I guess if you don't even know you're looking for gold, how will you ever find the gold? You have to kind of know what you're looking for in order to find it, in order to know where to even look or where to begin. That's my personal opinion. So I do want to tell a quick story about just how a partner can impact your life significantly. And this is not a story that I've experienced personally. This is from someone else. It's from actually a different course that I took. But in the course, this one person that, I'm not going to say who did the course, because he's a controversial figure. But in the course, the person is the creator of the course is very successful. And he talks about how a lot of what made him successful is his brother. And he and his brother work basically as a unit. They work as a pair, and everything they do together. So they understand how important their relationship with each other is. And to some people that might sound like common sense, but as you probably know, most people don't necessarily have the best relationship with their partner or with even their brother or their siblings or their family in general. And most people, I would say, especially in the Western world, don't work as a unit. They work individually. You have a certain bond maybe with your brother or your sister or your mom or your dad or whoever, but you're not working as a unit. You're not moving together to accomplish the same goal. And so in the story, the guy who created the course says that he had a buddy. The buddy is Muslim, and I think he said his buddy was making about maybe 40 or 50K or something like that, 40 or 50K a year. And one day he sees him driving in a Lamborghini, and he says to him, how can you afford a Lamborghini? You only make about 50K a year. It's not a bad salary, but it's not enough to buy, a $400,000 or $300,000 car. And he says to him that his family, especially his partner, his wife, have a very good bond, and they all understand exactly the mission that they're working on. And so what they do is they live together, and they all understand their roles. So he and his brothers all live together, and they all live with their wives. Their wives take care of the kids, and their wives do the cooking and the cleaning. They understand their roles, but they don't work. All of the men, all the husbands, they work all the time. And what they all do is they pool their money and their resources together. They all have specific roles that they are in. They pool their money, they pool their resources together. And because they do this, they can buy more assets, and they can buy things that'll take them to the next level much quicker than an individual could. And the Muslim gentleman in the story was saying that, in contrast to most people, even if they have a partner, or even if they have siblings or a family, everyone in that family or everyone in that relationship works still as an individual. So they all have their own separate goals. So a lot of people, you have a sibling, and the sibling will go and he'll buy his own apartment, and the other one will buy their own house, and maybe the wife wants to do A, B, and C, and the husband wants to do A, B, and C. Everyone's doing different things. And because everyone's doing different things, they're moving towards their goals at a very, very slow pace, to the point where it'll take them forever to accomplish it, or they may never accomplish their goals. And it was an interesting story just because it illustrates how much further you can move if everyone moves together as a unit, and if everyone understands the goal, and if everyone's working together and there's cohesion amongst the group. And so I bring that up just because I think your partner can influence whether or not you'll even accomplish any of your goals, let alone some goals. I think if you have a partner, your partner truly needs to be a supplement to your life, and you need to act as a unit with your partner. And I think in order for you to find someone who works as a supplement, who can work as a unit, or who could work with you as a unit, and someone who has a certain level of cohesion with your goal and what you're working on, you need to know what you're looking for. You need to know what values you're searching for. You need to know what this ideal partner will look like, which will help you figure out where to find them. And if you do find them, you'll know how to spot them, because I think that's another part of it. If you meet someone that could be perfect, and you don't really know what to look for, they could pass you by. So I just wanted to kind of bring that up in this somewhat short video, just because I think it's extremely important to keep in mind. Like I said, I think a lot of people, they pick partners haphazardly, especially if you're a guy. Maybe you're picking a partner based on just looks. I think that's fine, but I think there should be more to it than that. Just because in the grand scheme of things, if the two of you have completely different goals and opposing viewpoints and opposing just mindsets, you can't get to your intended destination that way, in my opinion. I think if two people in a partnership have opposing viewpoints, you're basically just going to stay exactly where you are, and you'll never accomplish your goal. You'll never get to the next level. You'll never become the best version of yourself. And this whole idea, this whole Better Life Blueprint, is designed to help you get to your best possible self, to help you live your best possible life. So with that being said, there is in the supplemental material section sort of a worksheet that you can use, and it'll help give you an idea of what to look for. And I think by kind of going through that, thinking about what you're looking for, thinking about what your goals are, it'll help you identify the best kind of person. And I feel like this is one of those things where you just have to kind of go out and practice it. I don't think there's any perfect way to go about this. I think even if you were to sit there and try to think about all the best possible attributes, humans are humans. There's always error that's going to occur. So don't think that if you go through this worksheet, you'll automatically find the best possible person. I don't think there is a perfect person or a best possible person, but I think it's a good way to help you navigate towards the best possible person for your goals and for your life and for what you wish to accomplish and for what your idea of a better life or your best life is. So hopefully that helps. As always, let me know if you have any questions, and I will see you in the next video.